come on, I wanted that. It's always the purple mattress.
Because I think you bought a purple mattress before. That's why it's
But yeah, but that was a year ago.
Yeah,
we returned it.
Your cookies will still have purple. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our live after show talk about Westworld. Season 2, Episode 8, entitled Kiksuya? Kiksuya? It's all about the Ghost Nation. Andrew, let's do quick introductions, and then we'll...
I'm Andrew.
I'm Mark.
I'm Zach.
And we are the Knights of the Drunk Watch.
And now our talk begins. So it's just us
so
chickens.
first of all, we're a skeleton crew this week.
Mm-hmm.
Kate's on vacation.
Kate is in the Ghost Nation right now.
Yeah, she is.
Kate may not return.
Kate is in the Mesa area. Kate's probably closer to the shooting area than we are.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we talking about today, Andrew?
All right, so I guess the first overview of what do we think, or how do we put together who the Ghost Nation is?
Well, I guess they're certainly not who we
Well,
thought
I mean,
they were.
here's the thing I saw. First of all, they created part of the Alpha group was the Indian tribe,
right?
That they created, but it just seemed to be out there by itself,
no direction,
doing its thing, never interacting with hosts,
right?
Until the Destroyer, is that what they call Dolores?
Deathbringer.
The Deathbringer. Until what I call Arnold's massacre, where Arnold basically tried to get Dolores to kill him, and hoping that she would go to the next level.
Yeah, I have some questions though. Okay, continue.
Okay,
continue this storyline.
So
I have questions.
At that point, some of the nation was taken and reprogrammed to be the Ghost Nation, which then had like an Indian massacre storyline.
But that was Arnold's storyline. Arnold's new opening day storyline. Right?
Or was it Ford's? Arnold's dead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ford opening day storyline.
Yeah, that was part of getting them prepared for opening day. Is to have an Indian massacre where I guess hosts could kill the Indians.
Right. Because
there was always seemed to be hosts in the background. But then he would go.
But
he would go back to the Indian nation, the straight up nation, and interact with them. But there would still be no hosts involved with
Correct.
them.
Yeah. Okay.
And
he was noticing as time went on that certain people got replaced.
Well, he started having memories. Remembered his wife.
Hey, Dr. Lee.
Hey, Dr. Lee. Remembered his wife from before.
Right.
And he woke her up.
Kind of like a Maeve situation.
Yeah. And he kind of was awake, and then he woke her up, and then she got taken away and lobotomized.
Okay.
I mean, almost right away, because then he went back to get her, and she was replaced.
She was already cold storage.
And so he finally accepted that he had to die to go to the other side to see what was happening.
Kind of like Maeve.
And that was the first time that he had died in 10 years.
Right.
Because they said his build was Alpha 2, which is probably when they made him Ghost Nation.
Right.
So, in the meantime, he ran into Logan on year 1 or whatever. Because he ran into Logan, who was almost dead from exposure. But then, of course, he went on that road later, and Logan wasn't there.
Right.
Saw where they were probably building something subterranean, then went back with his wife, and it was...
Couldn't find it anymore.
Finally...
But we don't know...
We don't know the full time. We don't know from when he
first saw it.
Like, from Logan to when he first saw it to when he brought his wife there.
Right. We don't know.
That was all within a 10-year time span. We don't know exactly...
Right.
But
I think what we do know is that there is some kind of door.
He kept referring to the door.
He
had the concept of the door.
But we saw it. We saw it with him. Whatever they were building, there is some very big
I couldn't tell what was going on, but I mean, yeah.
It seems like they finished building it and then they just covered it.
But it wasn't the Mesa. I mean, I don't think.
Yeah, it wasn't where they ended up putting the Mesa. Yeah.
So when Man in Black and Ford, whoever, references the door, we know now it's a physical place. Mm-hmm. It's not like a the maze where it's a mental.
Yeah, I mean, I think the door is definitely where they can leave the park.
Okay.
And go into the real world.
You think so?
Yes, because that's the world where where they say they belong, and that was Arnold's dream.
Okay. Okay.
So. Yeah, so that's the whole thing, is because this also, I mean, we could go on. I mean, it turns out we've covered most of my points. Well, because
I want to discuss some things on the points.
So because here's the other thing, because then in part of his journeys, he ran into Ford doing some independent research on the maze. Because he knew the maze was out there, but he didn't. He thought he'd quashed it. Maybe he was the one who buried it in the graveyard, the toy in the graveyard. Because I've always said that what Ford is doing was him basically realizing that Arnold was right and making up for Arnold's death. Because Ford and Arnold were fighting, because Ford was like, we need investors, we need to make this park.
Right.
And Arnold was like, no, they can be real. And so then I think Arnold sacrificed himself to try to make Dolores real. And then I think from that point on, Ford was in bed with Delos, which he had to move forward with.
Right.
But he was looking for that. He realized he was wrong and Arnold was right, and he spent that 30 years trying to right things. And that's why when he discovered Acheta, he was like, oh, you've been blossoming in the darkness this whole time.
Which means I neglected you, and you've been...
Right. And when the Deathbringer comes for me, you will know it's time to find the door and leave the park.
I just have so many... Well, the question I have is about reference to time.
Mm-hmm.
How far in advance did Ford know that he wanted Dolores to set off this revolution? Like how when he was...
I mean, that was pretty straight up old Ford. So
right. Okay.
That might have been... That would have to been fairly close to the gala. Not days, but certain,
a year or so.
Planning it for some time.
Yeah.
At least.
I mean, what I think is interesting is we probably can assume that since they showed us in the previews that host was at the party, he is one of the original builds.
Right. Yeah. No. And,
so he's
and because,
probably one
because he didn't get his Alpha 2 build until after the massacre.
Right.
So yeah, and he was one of the ones they took out to put in the party to sell Logan on.
So and he is probably one of the first to be awakened, right? So he discovered all this pretty much on his own.
Mm-hmm. Well, the maze, which I think was part of Arnold's deal, the maze worked on him.
But so my question is now, the physical toy maze, the image, is it itself a code, like a key, like a QR code that they can
The maze itself is, first of all, it's a different shape. It's brain shaped. It's not round. And you'll notice in the toy maze, the figure actually has a hand touching its head.
Okay.
Because that's the doorway that's the passage into the center.
Right.
Whereas the maze that the hosts have to solve is open up just to show a figure of the man in the center, because it is a psychological maze. It's not about actually,
Right, but what about seeing the maze makes the hosts?
Well, he also said he heard another voice,
which we assume is Arnold.
So I assume that was digital Arnold. That while Arnold was working on Dolores, he was also working on Akecheta.
But when did Dolores see the maze? Or did she? Yeah, she saw. They talked. Yes,
they
Dolores
talked about it. They talked about it.
Because Men in Black was after the maze.
Because I think Dolores Ford was able to kind of halt her passage through the maze, because every time she came back to Mariposa, it was buried.
Right.
And so she couldn't complete her journey.
Right.
Until the gala. And then I think that's Mariposa. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Lee. Oh, here we go.
Retcon? What is retcon? I don't know what that is. Explain.
Yeah, I can't remember if Mariposa is Lawrence's hometown or if it's the original town, but Dolores was constantly breaking her loop and finding her way back to the original town.
Buried.
And it's because it was buried, she couldn't complete the journey.
Right.
Until Ford unburied it to set up his death.
Right.
Because for Ford's death, Dolores made an independent decision to follow through.
Correct.
Where Arnold thought she just had to take a life. And he kind of told her to kill him. But because it was more than like taking a life, she had to make an independent decision. That was the missing step. That's why when she killed Arnold, she didn't evolve.
Okay.
Because Ford talked about that, how when you killed Arnold, it was because he told you to, not because you chose to.
So this time made it different.
And when she killed Ford, she made the decision on her own. He's like, here's everything you need, do what you want. And she made the decision on her own to kill him.
I don't think a Ketchita story is shoehorned. I don't think so.
He's what?
Shoehorned. Like they just shove it in there to make it. I don't think so.
Oh, hey Rachel.
Hey Rachel.
I'm just trying. Ghost Nation's been there from the beginning.
Right, but we have never had an episode nearly discussing what the Ghost Nation was, is,
right.
I
think this has been the plan for the Ghost Nation. Because the Ghost Nation kidnapped Ashley Stubbs at the end of last season, and we didn't find out till this season what they were doing with him.
Right.
Which was, they didn't kill him.
They didn't kill him. He's still alive. Well, I'm confused. I'm trying to figure out timeline. I'm trying to figure out intent. I'm trying to figure out, what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah, good luck with that.
So I'm trying to put everything I know about the show, and now they gave us this whole side arc over here.
Well,
and they
understory.
Yeah, and they don't really give us any good specific anchors other than Arnold's death and Ford's death.
Ford's death.
And that and the death of, when the Man in Black shot.
Right, that happened. That happened right after his wife died.
Yes.
And before Maeve became.
So in other words, the story
that was like the
story
year
that
ago.
we think we know has been happening long before.
Right.
Our story began.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to.
Yes, Ake woke up when Dolores should have woken up.
Right.
He woke up at the massacre.
But he was further along in the journey. He was 10 years ahead of Dolores.
Right.
As far as the mental journey.
No, he was 30 years ahead of Dolores.
Oh, 30 years. Okay.
Dolores didn't wake up until... Because the Man in Black timeline is 30 years later.
Okay. So, that's what I'm trying to... we just got introduced to the storyline, but in reality, this has been an undercurrent for the whole thing. So Dolores and Maeve are not the most enlightened ones, I guess.
Yeah.
In the park.
Well, and we still don't know who put Maeve on her path. We can assume maybe Ford, because we were reminded that Maeve's whole storyline to find her daughter, was actually programmed into her, and she was supposed to leave the park, and it was her decision not to leave the park that broke her and made her fully awake to go find her daughter.
To answer Dr. Lee, I think that was part of that's what Ford said. He had you blossomed in the darkness. In other words, we neglected to incorporate you into anything, and we kind of left y'all out.
Yeah, well, see, and that's the confusing thing, is what was the purpose of the Indian nation, who seemed completely...
Well, I think they tried to repurpose them by making them these savage killers.
Some of them were, but the rest of his family were just out there doing their daily
they were
tasks.
Just to see.
They had no, as far as I could tell, they had no host interaction.
Could be fidelity, just to see how long they can.
And then when he took Koa with him and woke her up,
right?
They came and found her and took her back, and then...
Well, they have to be tracking her.
Right, but they weren't tracking him.
Right. So I think the Ghost Nation is completely rogue on their own.
Yeah, Ghost Nation is
and maybe that the rest of the native tribe is just kind of out in the wilderness, maybe to see how long they can survive on their own.
Yeah, there must be a purpose for that.
What if we just let these robots...
9 years.
What if we let these robots just out in the wilderness and gave them a minimal education? Do they know how...
After they replaced Koa, they also replaced at least 2 other members?
I think we're gonna find out what happened to them.
What the actual purpose of the nation is.
Right, after so long did they start having glitches? Did they start having... Because I feel like the point is there has to be a reason why they left them out there to their own devices. I feel like to see it. How long can these hosts survive out in the wild without any supervision?
Yeah, well, Akechita survived 10 years between the massacre and getting updated again.
Without getting injured or killed.
Yeah, that's the 10-year mark.
Right.
So that when he finally let himself be killed.
Right. Let himself be killed.
He let himself be killed. Because he finally decided he had to go see the other side.
Right.
What was on the other side of death.
Right.
Because he knew that's where.
But he knew there was some. He knew there was
something.
Something over there. Not spiritually, but physically, there was something behind the curtain.
Right.
Yeah. So he's a lot more advanced than. I think we're gonna find he's a lot more advanced than Dolores and, Maeve is. And I think you're right. I think Dolores is going to be the ultimate villain.
Yeah, because she's the Deathbringer.
She's almost like a virus, just wiping out the whole system.
And
I mean, she did wipe the system. The cradle's gone.
The cradle's gone.
There's no backup.
There's no backups. Now, here's my question. Well, before I do that, going back to Dolores being the Deathbringer, and I can't remember who said it that made me think, oh, the ultimate villain is Dolores. I don't know if Forrest said something. Or if, but anyway, also it's like Dolores is not the hero that we think she's supposed to be.
No. But she was given another story. She was given the Wyatt storyline, or was brought back to Wyatt, wasn't she? Because she mentioned I am Wyatt or whatever.
Well, but
she has not changed appearances.
Because Ford took that massacre and incorporated it into the Wyatt storyline. Right. And so they knew Wyatt was the head of this massacre, and then we found out that the basis was Dolores' massacre. But yeah, see, there has to be something more as to what Ford was doing with that nation, that they were ignored for so long, and then they slowly retired a handful of them, and then because he was clearly off his loop more than once, and then he went back to his loop on his own. Yeah, his loop was to massacre the camp.
Do that camp storyline.
Some hosts, of course, like one massacre he did, the 2 host women were just out there playing with their guns. They weren't even paying attention.
Yeah.
And then when he got killed, it was 2 host guys. Mm-hmm. Here's my question. Why do they need the cold storage? I mean, we know that they can completely rebuild a body when a body gets too done, and then put the host into it. We know that they had original builds or some kind of backup builds in a cradle until Angela blew it up. But so why is a host even retired? Why do we have a body standing in cold storage?
But they have taken bodies out of cold storage, haven't they?
The only bodies that came out of cold storage was to join the army.
Right, so they can... I guess the cold storage is... These are not...
But Delos didn't seem to have a purpose for it. Or Ford didn't seem to have a purpose for it. It's like, if their backup is in a cradle, why do they even need the body? If they're like, oh, this one has gotten too corrupted, why do they just dump it? Or reboot it from its original? That's my question.
I don't know, I feel like it's easy. It's an easy vessel they can just reprogram instantly to send out.
But if that vessel gets burned to a crisp, they just build you a new one.
Well, that's burnt. This is still good. just needs to be reprogrammed and
Well, but when they retire them, they're supposed to be retired for good. They like drill into it and make it into
because it's creepy, Andrew.
I mean, I'm just saying.
They just need a reason to show some naked dongs standing around.
It's creepy and
I mean, certainly, like they needed Abernathy. They tried to make Abernathy give him enough of a personality to walk out with the gala.
Train. I mean, if they were to incinerate the host and leave no trace of them, no one could ever go back and the living host couldn't go back and rediscover cold storage.
Yeah, I mean, it has a plot. It has a purpose.
Plot-wise.
Hopefully somewhere there's an underlying reason as to why they do it that way.
Unless I don't know. Unless they're keeping them to be released into the wild later. I don't know.
Well, but you can see we even know with Clementine that even if they can be even if they can be turned on.
Right.
Poor Clementine, that girl is zombies. So messed up.
She's not.
They're like the original.
She's not 100%.
Magician zombies.
Yeah.
They just like yes, master. Whatever you say, man.
She's not doing well. Yeah, because I remember they took some out of cold storage and used them for something.
Yeah.
The Confederados or something.
No. Even the Confederados were there from the beginning.
What I'm saying is, I remember them saying we took something out of cold storage and beefed up one area or one group of people. I can't remember.
As part of the park, or
as part of the new rewrite of the story. What's his face's new storyline?
Oh, in this episode they mentioned that.
No, it's last season. When
Sizemore took some stuff.
When Sizemore wrote his new storyline, someone correct me if I'm wrong. Sizemore wrote his storyline. They took some things out of cold storage to beef up whatever population they needed.
Right.
Now it may just be they're not the best. They're just kind of like filler.
Well, and maybe if the code
they don't have like a true storyline.
The code of the host is corrupted to where they even can't go to the cradle. Maybe you're right. It's like, well, that we can maybe repurpose this body later, so we'll just save the body.
I mean, they could be someone drinking a beverage, or someone just like
What's he saying about the cradle?
The cradle thing is an example of retcon. They came up with it in season 2, but it makes you wonder to go back and reassess things like the cold storage lobotomies in season 1. Yeah.
So I mean, I really feel like season 1 and 2 probably were all sketched out. You don't do just one season and go, it was successful.
I do have to admit the term the cradle did come out of just one episode.
Yeah, just tell us what that means.
It's being something that's shoehorned into the plot.
Right, but it's short for something.
Oh, I don't know. That I don't know.
What you mean? Like they didn't even think about that in the beginning,
right? And then all of a sudden, we need a central nervous system.
More story.
We need something central to the
right. But Rachel asked about can Maeve influence Dolores.
I don't think so.
They've met a couple of times and they kind of had a little bit of a standoff. I don't think Maeve has any effect on Dolores.
But has she tried?
But is Maeve... Okay, here's my question. Here's my conspiracy theory. Has Maeve gotten to the level of being as powerful as Ford? Because now she's able to remotely communicate with another host.
Communicate with host.
Several miles away.
Right.
Unconnected, just this magical network they have now.
Well, but that was mentioned, I think, even last year.
But they're communicating like shared consciousness.
Well, yeah, that network was supposed to be a subconscious
retroactive continuity.
Thank you, retroactive continuity.
Retcon's a lot easier to say than retroactive continuity. So I think because Ford's able to do that, Ford has been able to do that, is to speak through other hosts.
Digital Ford,
right?
Yeah,
speak through his younger self, and then what's his face's daughter will talk to Men in Black. So we haven't seen Maeve actually use her words. Right. She hasn't used her words through somebody else, but she has shared consciousness with somebody else.
Right, but I think. See, here's the thing: is I think there. I felt like every time, both times that Dolores and Maeve met, it kind of seemed like setting it up against each other.
Yeah. No, it does.
And I think what we're going to discover is that Dolores is the ultimate villain, you know, in that she wants to burn it all down, and Maeve is going to be the hero.
So Rachel says, I think she can Maeve affect Dolores, influence Dolores, but she seems to realize that they are on different paths. Well, but they also say they also respect the new notion of you choose your own path. Me controlling you is the same as...
I guess we'll find out if they have a showdown. Because obviously Maeve is going to somehow get out of her situation where she's been dissected by the new doctor. Sylvester and Felix have got to come save her.
I think she's going to transfer her consciousness.
Into another body?
I think she's just going to upload it to something and just bye. I mean, she has able to share her consciousness now with somebody else. I think all that storytelling is...
That actor's not going away.
Right?
So,
yeah,
I mean,
we would lose the actor.
Unless there's a Maeve body somewhere.
Up in cold storage or down in cold storage or something.
Well, no, I mean, her body right now is relatively new.
What if she's making a new one in a different lab? I mean, she has connections to the whole system, right?
Right.
So effectively, she can be remotely
maybe she can
controlling a lab.
Tell the lab to make
that's
her
what I'm
body.
saying. She's like,
that would be interesting.
She's laying there like, yeah, take your time. I'm making a new body, and I'm going to transfer my consciousness.
So she couldn't control Lawrence.
Which one was Lawrence?
That's the original El Lazo, who was with Man in Black all the time.
I don't know.
But I still believe though, she's being moral in that she doesn't want to control people she respects.
I don't know.
Maybe?
I think the whole point of being woke is independence. I don't think she can control. If they're truly woke,
okay,
she can't control them.
You don't think so?
You know, if
I don't
because not all. It's not like they all woke up with Dolores. She's even going around killing those that didn't evolve. She said, you know, we're all not getting out of this, and shot one.
Right.
Or something along those lines.
Yeah,
You know, and I think that's part of the problem with Teddy. Is like Teddy is like on the verge, and she can't get him to cross over, and so she decided to make him Crazy Teddy instead.
Yeah, I think that's gonna come back and bite her in the ass. I think later, for sure, gonna come back and bite her in the ass. I don't know.
He ends up in the lake, so
I predict that Maeve she's working on something. I mean, she has like.
Well, he says she's been. Yeah,
Charlotte's look, she's been doing this whole time. Yeah. So she's doing something. She's not just sitting there.
So she may have realized, I can tell the machine over there to make me a new body.
Fuck this, I'm out of here.
Which I can't take too long because they built the new Maeve and the new Hector and the new Armistice.
Seemed like overnight.
Yeah. So as long as she can keep them from,
I would not be shocked if she just walked into the room like, what's up, bitches? And I'm leaving.
But if all of that is automated to even dumping a core that you then transfer the programming into, that would be kind of cool.
I don't see why not. She can remotely control the network, and we now know she can share. I feel like the reason why the Ghost Station guy at whatever his name is, Archie Akecheta, I think she was going through his memories, or she was reading his story at the same time as he was telling it.
Or she was listening.
Right, I think
it wasn't just him telling the daughter.
He was telling her too. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because in the end, when they showed up and he was clearly like, "I'm here to help," and she's like, "No."
Yeah.
It's like he really had to say, "I have your daughter. She is safe.
She's fine.
If you get out of there, we'll have her.
Yeah.
If not, go down fighting."
I think May's gonna reappear somewhere else.
Well, it'll be interesting to see.
We only have 2 episodes, so
yeah, it'll be interesting to see again if she has something. I mean, there's at least 2 remote labs,
which also means
and one of them still has drones walking around.
Also means that Maeve is able. This is me being conspiracy theory. She's able to back herself up,
right?
Because she's able to make a copy of herself somewhere else.
Since they destroyed all the other backups.
Well, but I don't see. I think from what you said, I don't see her like dumping it back up. I think she's taking her current
just going boom
consciousness and downloading it from the body they're about to like shred,
right,
and downloading it into the new body.
Okay, we'll see.
Because I think they only have the one.
There has to be a way to make a copy.
I think the whole point of creating the cradle and getting rid of it is to say there are no more copies.
That's such a stupid. That's not backing up your files, Andrew. That's the worst.
Well, that's where you put in the sense of danger, because if you lose it, you lose it.
But if you're Maeve and you're a magical robot, you can make a copy of yourself. I don't know. I think that's just bad. That's bad IT work. Not to save, not to back up your data. I feel like that's step number one.
Well, but I think that was Dolores' point.
That's stupid.
Dolores was burning down the establishment and got rid of the cradles so that death was final.
But wouldn't it stick it to Dolores if May was able to copy herself?
Right. That's true.
And that would still stick it to her like, no, I can go. I'm all powerful. You could never stop Maeve. All right, I think we're at our time.
Dr. Lee thinks the cradle really opened a can of worms. I don't know.
How so? I mean,
well, because like oh, by the way, there's backups of the whole world. Bernard went in there and like walked around everyone doing their daily routine without hosts, without guests.
It doesn't seem like the worst.
And then that's where Digital Ford was hiding,
fucking everything up.
Yeah, and then Digital Ford downloaded himself into Bernard. And Bernard, before they blew it up, so Digital Ford is walking around inside Bernard's head. Both of them are in there.
I think this is a bad. The cradle is just the worst design. If any host can go in there and like, Arnold was just any host.
Well, no, Bernard was special.
Okay.
But the thing is he had to be woke to even do that. It wasn't like a host was going to wander into the cradle and go, oh, I wonder, you did it? Yeah. Because even the thing that he used to connect was like dangerous because it was designed for an older model anyway.
Okay. I predict that Maeve can back herself out or make a copy of herself.
I think so.
That'd be so cool. I think that'd be cool. But I'm not a writer. What do I know?
I mean, we do know that there's a room full of Bernards somewhere. Well, they were all the old Bernards.
Right. Old models.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be like, they were backups, but no, they were the old Bernards.
It's old models all split up and stuff. Okay, you got any predictions for the last 2 episodes?
God, how could they end it to go to at least a season 3? I think you're right. Maeve is going to have to be reborn. Mm-hmm. And because also we still haven't connected the 11 days to when Bernard was found on the beach.
Oh, that's right.
So
I don't think we're gonna get that this next episode either.
No. I mean that usually starts to come together now, but I think
probably see that in the last
episode. They now know that Bernard is a host, but they haven't confronted him on that
at all.
He's
just a good boy. Like he's just like he's playing along.
Now I can't remember what part of the. No, Ashley was with him when they discovered that, so that was after the 11 days.
Mm-hmm.
So Bernard has been separated from them again, but when they come back to Bernard the final time, they'll know who he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's going to be kind of a big showdown drawing the lines between Maeve and Dolores.
That's what I think. I think the season's going to end pitting Dolores and Maeve against each other, trying to get to the door.
Yeah,
or trying to get out,
or know what the purpose of the door is. Because
if Dolores gets out, Dolores is going to conquer the world.
She wants to conquer the world.
If Maeve gets out, she wants to live simpatico with everybody.
Right.
So I think that battle of who gets to the door first. Maybe Man in Black may die.
Well, and of course, the next episode does show him with older Juliet, who is Celia Ward. I'm so excited! I love Celia Ward.
He may his storyline may be being.
So we're gonna find out how her suicide affects him, which led him to killing Maeve's daughter.
Well, if he's on the verge of death and they're about to have an episode that's going to go into his backstories and all like the darkest parts of his life, then he might very well be dead by the end of the next episode.
I think it's
a
good. And
because it could be like they've had him for 2 full seasons.
2 full seasons.
Ed Harris, he might die, but there'll still be some backstory that older William can be involved in to kind of really put pieces.
Yeah,
because I can't imagine this going on for more than 3 seasons.
I think it's scheduled for 5.
Is it scheduled for 5?
Oh goodness!
I think they said.
Well, I don't know that they would kill him.
3.
I mean, obviously they killed Ford, but then they had him for they're having him for half a season. Yeah. As digital Ford and flashback Ford, so to speak.
And there's still the younger version of William that
I think
we could continue.
Well, there's still like how William built Delos and built the park to.
I think I read
to be the purpose that he sold Daddy Delos
decided, I think 4 or 5, and then that's the absolute end.
Well, it's like Lost. I mean,
they can't, because you can't continue this forever.
Yeah.
All right. That's our predictions, everybody. Let us know what you think. Dr. Lee said I'd be surprised if Ed Harris committed a long-term.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't committed for 5 seasons. So, I mean, because, God, he's an old man. He can only take so much.
Yeah, I don't know.
William, that is.
But what else can... I mean, how... Not to string it along, but what else can Man in Black do? Like, what is he going to become, a good guy now? Like, his story... I feel like his story arc is coming to a close.
Well, and Emily's still obviously pissed.
Right. But she can leave with her dad. Like, that can be... Or once Dad's gone, she goes with him, and that's the end of them.
Yeah.
That's the end of Delos, at least. Because the new company... What's the name of the new company with Charlotte? Charlotte's company? It's not Delos.
No, she's working for Delos.
Oh, but it's a different... It's a different...
Well, I think...
structure outside.
They wanted everything that was built in the park to be used for other purposes, for other money-making purposes. Right. Ford was was keeping it all in the park for park purposes.
All right. Well, I'm all talked out. I think we talked circles enough. Yeah. Andrew?
Well, yeah, and thanks to... there's 4 watching, so I think one includes me and Dr. Lee and Rachel. Thanks for coming back, Rachel. Glad you're watching the show. We thought maybe you weren't around because Westworld wasn't your thing. So
yeah,
so we're gonna be back again next Sunday.
Father's Day.
Episode
9.
For episode 9.
And then the next Sunday.
And then we're gonna watch the finale on finale night the following Sunday. So we'll have our chats at 9:30 on those nights.
Yeah. So make sure to go, and if you have not, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when we go live. And then after this, we're watching Broken Objects.
Sharp things.
Sharp things.
Shattered glass.
Shattered glass.
So
that's the series starring Amy Adams. So if
and Patricia Clarkson. Perfectly cast.
So prepare yourself for that because that looks like a high drama.
Yeah.
So all right, let's go home, Andrew.
All right. So we are the Knights of the Drunk Watch,
and now our watch
talk has ended. Chat has ended. What do we do?
Good night, everybody.
We're watching Chat Talk.
See ya. We'll see you next Sunday.
That's your responsibility. It's your one job.
My one job, and I